Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. I'm Ty Glenn. Hopefully you guys are having a good Tuesday. Before we go ahead and get started into the NHL news for today, I just want to share my prayers and condolences to the families of the three junior hockey players that were killed in the motorcycle in the vehicle accident that happened yesterday in Staffley, Alberta. There were three junior hockey players for the Southern Alberta Mustangs hockey team of the USPHL, United States Premier Hockey League. They were killed in a motor vehicle collision while heading to practice on Monday morning of February 2nd of 2026. The crash occurred at around 11 a.m. at the intersection of Highway 2 and 55 Avenue in Staffley, Alberta, which is an hour and 16 minutes away from Calgary. And the three players that were in that crash were forward and left winger JJ Wright, who was 18 years old, from Kamloops, British Columbia; goaltender Cameron Casorso, who was also 18 years old, from Kamloops, British Columbia; and Caden Fine, who was 17 years old, from Birmingham, Alabama. It's always tragic to see something like this. Like, I can't even imagine of what the families are going to, but I just want to come on my podcast today and express my condolences and prayers to the families, the teammates, the coaches, the friends, and relatives of these young hockey players. These young hockey players had bright futures ahead of them, bright futures, great hockey careers ahead of them, and they didn't need this. I'm trying not to feel too emotional about this, but I just wanted to come on here and express my prayers and condolences to those families, and hope that you recover from this soon. This didn't need to happen, and this was totally unexpected. This is what the Southern Alberta Mustangs, which is the junior hockey league team of these three players, said in their statement. They said, "It is with unimaginable heartbreak that we confirm three players from the Southern Alberta Mustangs that were killed in a motor vehicle accident earlier today while traveling to team practice. There are no words that can adequately express the depth of our grief. These young men were more than hockey players. They were teammates, sons, brothers, friends, and deeply loved members of our Mustang family and the communities we call home. Our hearts are with the families, friends, Billet families, teammates, coaches, and everyone who loved them. We ask that their families be given privacy and compassion as they navigate this devastating loss. The Southern Alberta Mustangs organization is working closely with authorities and will continue to support our players, staff, and families in every way possible during this incredibly difficult time. We are a family, and today our family is hurting. Further information will be shared when appropriate. On behalf of the ownership, Southern Alberta Mustangs." And the USPHL, which is the league that the Southern Alberta Mustangs are in, they also released a statement saying, "The United States Premier Hockey League is devastated to share the following statement from the Southern Alberta Mustangs after confirming the tragic loss of three players in a motor vehicle accident while traveling to practice earlier today. It is with unimaginable heartbreak that we confirm three players from the Southern Alberta Mustangs were killed in a motor vehicle accident earlier today while traveling to team practice. There are no words that can accurately express the depth of our grief. These young men were more than hockey players. They're teammates, sons, brothers, families, and deeply loved members of our Mustangs family and the communities we call home. Our hearts are with the families, friends, billet families, teammates, coaches, and everyone who loved them. We ask that their families be given privacy and compassion as they navigate this devastating loss. The Southern Alberta Mustangs organization is working closely with authorities and will continue to support our players, staff, and families in every way possible during this incredibly difficult time. We are a family, and today our family hurting. The USPHL joins the Mustangs organization in mourning this unimaginable loss and extend its deepest condolences to the families and their loved ones. very, very emotional. And Caden Fine, he was part of the Birmingham Bulls organization, and I met so many people from that team, from that junior hockey team. Like the people I met today, the people I met in all my years of playing hockey, mainly came from that team. And to the Birmingham Bulls junior hockey team, to the players from Kamloops, British Columbia, the league that they were in, I just want to express my condolences to you guys and prayers, and praying for you guys right now, and to all the friends and families, relatives that are related to these three young men. Just praying for you. Hopefully you'll make it through this difficult time. And before we get started for the NHL news for today, I just want to have a 20-second moment of silence to remember these young, talented, extraordinary hockey players. All right, so we're still with you guys. One thing I like about hockey is that we are family, we are strong, we are one community with each other. The hockey community is with you guys during this incredibly tough time. So just sending out prayers again to each and every one of those family members of those three young men, their friends, teammates, coaches, and everybody that has been affected by this during this tough time. Okay, so other news for the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. So Tuesday, ahead of the Olympic break, there will be a episode out. Thursday, there will be an episode out. And then that will be the last day of NHL games before the Olympic break, by the way, Thursday. And then next Tuesday, we will preview the NHL Olympics for 2026. So next Tuesday will be a preview episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast for the NHL Olympics. And the Olympics will run from February 11th all the way to the 22nd. And then the NHL games will resume action on February 25th. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started into the NHL news for today. Nashville Predators, St. Louis Blues. Nashville Predators, they storm back and they win 6-5 against the St. Louis Blues on Monday. And with the win, Nashville improves to 26-23-6 of the season. They won 2 in a row. They extend their point streak to 4 games in which they are 2-2 during the span. And this happened the next day after the Lightning beat the Boston Bruins in the 2026 NHL Stadium Series. And fun fact about that, the Predators and the Lightning combined for the third instant in NHL history, recording a 4-goal comeback win in consecutive days, following March 23rd through 24th, 2024, and February 22nd through 23rd of 1972. And of course, like I said, the Lightning won the 2026 NHL Stadium Series against the Bruins, and they won 6-5 in the shootout. And also, another fun fact about this, the Predators became the 4th team to record a 4-goal comeback this season. They also marked the 4th 4-goal comeback of 2025-26, tied with the 1986-87 season and the 1984-85 season for the 4th most at this stage of the season, with 884 games in total out of all the 32 teams played, behind only 2019-20 season, which only had 5 4-goal comebacks, 1985-86 season, which only had 5 4-goal comebacks, and the 1983-84 season, which also had 5 4-goal comebacks. Predators were down 5-1 in this game to the St. Louis Blues, and they won 6-5 in regulation. And Steven Stamkos was a huge factor in the win. He scored twice in the third period, had the game-tying goal, and had the game-winning goal for the Predators. And he passes Dino Dino, I'm sorry if I pronounced that first name wrong. Cicerari for 20th all-time in goals in NHL history with 609 career goals. And he's behind Bobby Hull for 19th all-time on the NHL's all-time goal list. Of course, Bobby Hull with 610 career NHL goals. Ryan O'Reilly scored twice against his former team that he captained to the Stanley Cup in 2019. And he won the Conn Smythe Trophy with. Scored twice against the St. Louis Blues. Philip Forsberg had a goal and an assist for a 2-point night. Michael McCarron also scored for the Predators. Roman Josi notched 4 assists in the game. He was named the first star of the game in the Predators' 6-5 comeback win over the St. Louis Blues. Up to 200 goals in his career for the Predators already. And he's played 1,005 career games. And Roman Josi also notched and with his 4 assist game, I should say, he tied Victor Hedman, Morgan Riley, and Quinn Hughes for the most by active defensemen. UC Sauls, he was pulled in this game. He allowed 5 goals on 21 shots faced in net, and he was replaced in the second period by other Finnish goaltender, the Nashville Predators, Justus Anwin, who stopped all 14 shots faced in net. And for the St. Louis Blues, Paolo Buchnevich had 2 goals and assists for a 3-point night. Philip Broberg and Jake Neighbors and each had a goal and an assist for a 2-point night. Colton Parayko also scored for the Blues. Jimmy Snuggerud had an assist for the Blues, in which he extends his point streak to 5 games, 7 points during the span, 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points in 5 games during that 5-game point streak. Third longest by a rookie this season behind Beckett Seneca, who had an 8-game point streak, and Matthew Schaefer, who had a 6-game point streak. And Joel Hofer made 22 saves on 28 shots faced in net. And the St. Louis Blues, they have lost 7 of their past 8 games, in which they are 1-6-1 during the span, and they dropped to 20, 27-9 of the season. The Blues will be back in Dallas to take on another Central Division foe in the Dallas Stars on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. That game will air on TNT and HBO Max for you guys to watch. The Predators will host the Wild for another Central Division showdown at home at Bridgestone Arena on Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. First of a back-to-back for them. They'll be in Washington on Thursday to take on the Capitals at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Moving on to the Chicago Blackhawks and San Jose Sharks game, the battle of the 2 Vancouver boys, Macklin Celebrini versus Connor Bedard. And it will be Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks picking up the 6-3 win over the San Jose Sharks. And with the win, Chicago moves to 22-25-9 the season. And they finally snapped their 5-game losing skid back in the win column. Let's go. And it feels like every time when Connor Bedard and Macklin Celebrini take on each other, it feels like David versus Goliath almost when these two players take on each other, or maybe LeBron versus Steph in the NBA. It kind of feels something like that whenever we see Connor Bedard versus Macklin Celebrini, which this is only the second time in their young NHL careers that these two have faced off against each other. Of course, Macklin Celebrini missed the first 2 Blackhawks and Sharks games last season because he was out with a upper body injury, and so he got to face Connor Bedard and the Blackhawks in the season finale of last year. And so this game right here is the second time that these two teams, second time that Macklin Celebrini and Connor Bedard are facing each other. The Blackhawks and Sharks play each other 2 more times this season. This is the first of 3 meets. The next meet will be in San Jose on April the 6th. And then I think the final meeting will be on April 15th in Chicago. But yeah, it's always great to see Macklin Celebrini and Connor Bedard go at it. Both from Vancouver, both number 1 overall picks. You love to see that. Ryan Donato, he was a huge factor in this one. He had 2 goals and 2 assists for a 4.9. His first goal was a highlight reel goal, by the way. Like weaving through Sharks players and then cutting to net and then scoring while falling down. Pretty nifty, good goal from Ryan Donato. Ilya Mikheyev, he had a goal and 3 assists for a 4-point night. And Connor Murphy, who could most likely be traded from the Blackhawks this season, he had a goal and assist for a 2-point night. And then the other Connor Bedard, also scored for the Blackhawks. He had goals in 3 straight games. He's up to 23 goals of the season for the Blackhawks, and he scored his 21st career power play goal, and that surpassed Patrick Kane for the most by a Blackhawks player before turning age 21. Spencer Knight, he made 24 saves on 27 shots faced the net. And for the San Jose Sharks, Macklin Celebrini, he had a goal and assist for a 2-point night. Celebrini now has 144 career NHL points, passing Ron Francis for the 7th most by a teenager in NHL history, which Ron Francis had 142 points. Only Sidney Crosby, Wayne Gretzky, Dale Howchuck, Jimmy Carson, Steve Yzerman, and Brian Bellows had more. Sidney Crosby with 222 career points at the time. And when he was a teenager, Wayne Gretzky had 220 points when he was a teenager. Dale Howchuck with 194, Jimmy Carson with 186, Steve Yzerman with 176, and Brian Bellows with 148 career points as a teenager. Will Smith, the Fresh Prince, he had a goal in this game. He's up to 17 goals of the season. He extends his point streak to 5 games, in which he has 8 points during the span. 3 goals, 5 assists for 8 points during a 5-game point streak. Shakir Mukhamadullin, I hope I said that last name right. If I didn't, please correct me in the comments. He had a goal for the Sharks in this game. Philip Kurashev, former Chicago Blackhawk, he had an assist on that goal for the San Jose Sharks. Yaroslav Askarov allowed 4 goals and 10 shots faced the net, and so he got replaced by Alex Nedeljkovic with 9 minutes and 24 seconds remaining in the second period. He made 5 saves in relief, and the Sharks have now lost 3 straight games, 0-2-1 during the span. They dropped to 27, 23, and 4 of the season. They wrap up a 5-game road trip in Denver in the Mile High City against Nathan MacKinnon and the Colorado Avalanche on Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. We'll see if the Sharks can get a win over the best team in the league, or one of the best teams in the league. Avalanche are currently struggling right now. They had a 2-0 shutout loss to the Detroit Red Wings at home yesterday. So maybe this could be a chance for the San Jose Sharks to get a win in Denver. We'll just have to see how that will go. Blackhawks will be in Columbus to take on the CBJ Columbus Blue Jackets on Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Both these games for the Sharks and Blackhawks are the last game before the Olympic break between these two teams. So the Blackhawks will play the Blue Jackets, and the Sharks will play the Avalanche. Final game for both teams before the Olympic break. Let's move on from the Windy City to the state of hockey, St. Paul, Minnesota. Kirill Kaprizov, he scored twice in the Minnesota Wild's 4-3 overtime win over the Montreal Canadiens on Monday. One of his goals being the overtime game-winning goal, scored with 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining on the power play to win the game in overtime. And with the win, Minnesota improves to 33, 14-10 of the season. They extend their point streak to 6 games, in which they are 5-1 during the span. 9 points as well during that 6-game point streak. Joe Eriksson and Brock Faber scored for the Wild as well. Quentin Hughes notched 3 assists in the games, up to 400 career assists in the NHL for his career. Philip Gustafson made 17 saves on 20 shots, faced the net. Marcus Foligno was a late scratch in this one for the Minnesota Wild. He's out with a, I think when I read it, it said he was out with an illness, but it could be an injury as well, either illness or injury. But he did not play in this one for the Minnesota Wild. And for the Montreal Canadiens, Brendan Gallagher and Kirby Dach scored for the Canadiens. Ivan Demidov, who I predicted will win the Calder Trophy. Well, either him or Matthew Schaefer will win the Calder Trophy this year. But Ivan Demidov had a goal in this game for the Montreal Canadiens. He has 46 points in 56 games this season, 12 goals, 34 assists for 46 points in 56 games this season. He tied Mario Tremblay for the fourth most players in the season by a Canadian player at age 20 or younger. The only other players with more in a single season are Guy Lafleur, who has 64 points in the 1971-72 season, Uri Sapkowski, who had 50 points in the 2023-24 season, and Henry Richard, who had 47 points in the 1956-57 season. Jacob Dobes made 20 saves on 24 shots facing net. Despite the loss for him, he extends his point streak to 9 games, which he is 9-0-1 during the span. And the Canadiens' 3-game win streak comes to an end, and they drop to 31-17-8 of the season. They wrap up a 3-game road trip in Winnipeg against the Jets Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Last game before the Olympic break for them. The Wild will be in the Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, to take on the Predators Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time, in which that will be the last game before the Olympic break for the Minnesota Wild. First of a 3-game road trip for them. They will play their other Central Division foes, the Colorado Avalanche and the Utah Mammoth, after the Olympic break. But now let's talk about the 2026 College Hockey Beanpot Tournament semifinals. We'll start with the BC Eagles taking on the Harvard Crimson, in which will be the BC Eagles coming out with the 5-1 win over the Harvard Crimson, and so they advance to the championship game to take on the BU Terriers. Second consecutive year that Boston College is in the championship game, and James Higgins, who was a Boston Bruins 2025 first-round pick, he led the way for the BC Eagles in this one. He finished with a 3-point night. 2 goals, 1 assist for a 3-point night for James Higgins. And Drew Fortsu, hopefully I pronounced that last name right. He had a goal for the Eagles in this one. Dean Letourneau also had a goal and assist for a 2-point night. Lucas Gustafson had a goal in the win. Andre Gassu and Oscar Hemi each contributed with 2 assists, while Luca Cloutier made 30 saves on 31 shots facing net. If there's any time I'm not pronouncing a name right, guys, please let me know down in the comments and tell me how to pronounce it, because as a sports journalist and as a person in general, don't want to get anybody's name wrong. So if I'm ever mispronouncing the name on the Hockey Talk TG podcast, please correct me in the comments. For the Hartford Crimson, Ryan Haley had the long goal for the Harvard Crimson. He scored 30 seconds into the second period to make it 3-1, but it wouldn't be enough as the BC Eagles came out with the win. Ben Sherritt made 38 saves on 43 shots faced the net, and that would be the end of the game. The BC Eagles take this one 5-1. Their their first period explosion really set the tone in this game for them, and the Crimson could not keep up with it, and so they drop out of the semifinals, and then they will play against Northeastern in the consolation game, while the BC Eagles take on the BU Terriers in the championship game in the Beanpot Tournament. Let's go ahead and talk about that second game, shall we? BU Terriers taking on the Northeastern Huskies. BU Terriers held on for a 3-2 shootout win over the Northeastern Huskies. Cole Hudson scored the shootout game-winning goal for the Terriers, and the Terriers advanced to the championship game, which this will be a rematch from last year's Beanpot championship game against the BC Eagles. Terriers looking to go back-to-back against their longtime college rivals, the BC Eagles. This game was a back-and-forth game between the Terriers and the Huskies. It was a tightly contested game that went to a 2-2 tie at the regulation and overtime to a shootout at TD Garden. Northeastern took the early lead with a power play goal by Dylan Harokarin in the first period. Boston University answered back with a goal from Nick Vokoganes to even the score. And the Huskies, they took the lead back. Jacob Matthew scored to put Northeastern back ahead 2-1, finishing a nice sequence created off of a pass from Hirokuen. And Hirokuen's goal marked his second in 5 career Beanpot games, leading NU's current roster. But BU didn't back down. They tied the game up at 2 on a goal from Nick Ronkus. He netted the equalizer with a top corner shot that made it 2-2 midway through the second period. Third period was dramatic. I think there were no goals scored in the third period. No, but it was just a dramatic third period. It was like sudden death at that point, especially in the final minutes of the hockey game, considering where this game was at. But no goals in third period, and so overtime will be played, in which there was no goals scored. In overtime, BU nearly had a potential game winner late in the game in overtime, but it didn't count due to an interference penalty. And so we go to a shootout, in which Cole Husson scored the shootout game-winning goal for the BU Terriers. Jack Harvey had the other goal earlier on in the shootout, but it will be Cole Hudson being the hero in the shootout with the game-winning goal. And with that, we have our Beanpot Championship Tournament taking place between these longtime rivals, the BC Eagles and the BU Terriers. This game will come on Monday at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. This will air on NHL Network for you guys to watch. BU Terriers looking to go back-to-back, while the BC Eagles are looking for redemption against the BU Terriers. This should be a good one. It's a rivalry game. I'm pretty sure Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith are going to be watching this one with each other. We all know the bond and the friendship that they share with each other on the San Jose Sharks. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be watching this game as well. Will Smith, he played college hockey with the BC Eagles, while Macklin Celebrini played college hockey with the BU Terriers. So should be a good game, especially if you live in the Boston area, you're from Massachusetts, or you know someone that's played college hockey or went to either one of those schools. So it's going to be a good game, as always. I always love watching the BU Terriers and the BC Eagles go at it, especially in the Beanpot Championship game. So it should be a good one, and should be a packed house at TD Garden in Boston. Other games from the Monday slate, the Buffalo Sabres take down their division rivals, the Florida Panthers, with a 5-3 win. Buffalo is now 32-18-5 of the season. First time they've reached 32 wins in just their 55th game for the first time since the 2009-2010 season. They won 6 of their past 7 games. 6-7. Love doing that trend. Alex Lydon, he made 38 saves for his 11th win in his past 12 starts. And for the Florida Panthers, it might seem like the downfall for them. They have now lost 4 straight games. They're 28-24-3 of the season. They're 9 points out of a playoff spot behind the Bruins for a second wild card spot, and 10 points behind the Sabres for the first wild card spot. So I don't know if we're starting to see the downfall of the Florida Panthers or not, but we'll see what happens closer to March or April if they're in the playoffs or not. Ottawa Senators hold off the Pittsburgh Penguins with a 3-2 win. Claude Giroux with the game-winning goal late in the third period. The Washington Capitals take down their division rivals New York Islanders with a 4-1 win. Dallas Stars win 4-3 in overtime against the Winnipeg Jets. Thomas Harley with the overtime game-winning goal, in which he scored 2 minutes and 5 seconds into overtime. The Red Wings shut out the Avalanche 2-0, which was payback to the Avalanche, who shut out the Red Wings at home on Saturday. And the Red Wings returned the favor in Denver, shutting out the Avalanche 2-0. Marco Kasper and Lucas Raymond scored for Detroit. Kasper scored 33 seconds in the first period, while Lucas Raymond had the empty netter with 31 seconds to go in the third period. John Gibson with 21 saves in the shutout win, and Colorado is now 2-4-1 in their past 7 games. The Mammoth take down the Canucks 6-2. Nick Schmaltz with the hat-trick in that one to power them to the victory. And the Toronto Maple Leafs win 4-2 against the Calgary Flames. Taking a look at the NHL games on the slate for today. There's only 7 NHL games on the slate for today, starting with the CBJ Columbus Blue Jackets taking on the New Jersey Devils at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And then we got a Metropolitan Division showdown between the Washington Capitals and the Philadelphia Flyers at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Capitals playing a back-to-back set. They played at home on Monday against Matthew Schaefer and the New York Islanders, winning 4-1. We'll see if they can get a win in Philly, the city of brotherly love. Then we got the Ottawa Senators taking on the Carolina Hurricanes at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And then we got an Atlantic Division showdown between the Buffalo Sabres and Tampa Bay Lightning coming on at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Sabres were in Sunrise, Florida yesterday, taking on the 2-time Cup champion Florida Panthers, in which they had a 5-3 win. Now they're going to be traveling 3 hours to Tampa to take on the Tampa Bay Lightning, or if they fly, which they most likely will, it'll be like a 1-hour flight or so from Sunrise or Miami to Tampa. Take on Tampa Bay Lightning at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. That game will air on Hulu and ESPN+. And then we got the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on New York Islanders at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. That game will air on TNT and HBO Max for you guys to watch. Islanders playing a back-to-back set. They lost 4-1 to the Capitals on Monday in Washington. They're returning home to get a win over Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins. And then we got the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Edmonton Oilers at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Leafs playing a back-to-back set. They won 4-2 in Calgary on Monday. And then we got the Seattle Kraken taking on the Anaheim Ducks at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. That game will air on TNT and HBO Max. Pacific Division showdown for you guys to watch. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Hockey Talk with TG Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button on the Hockey Talk TG Podcast YouTube channel. Make sure to follow Hockey Talk TG Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. We're with you guys every Tuesday and Thursday, 1 o'clock p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Central Time, and then 2 o'clock p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell button so you guys can stay up to date on the latest episodes of the Hockey Talk TG Podcast. Both of you guys have a great rest of your day. Keep God first as always. Be blessed. I'll see you guys on Thursday for another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG Podcast. Take care.